We at NET are aware that hydrogen will be central in the new energy landscape as the world transitions to net zero. We're seeking to support and participate in that rapid sector growth. Every week we see energy majors announcing hydrogen infrastructure projects, and governments have committed hundreds of billions to the sector. However, there are a number of technology gaps that need to be solved before any of those projects can get actually built. Technology businesses are working to solve these gaps, including hundreds of early stage technology startups and global OEMs like Mitsubishi and GE. The problem is that incumbents are slow and they don't give investment exposure to multiples. And while startups can give you that exposure to multiples, they're high risk, and picking winners is difficult because there's technical complexity and it's an emerging market. You really need experts with deep capability in energy and hydrogen to find, assess, invest and create value by commercialising technologies to scale. And even then, you'd ideally want diversification. NET is a global team of experts with decades of experience in energy, technology, infrastructure and intellectual property. NET's business strategy is to acquire equity in and commercialisation rights to a diversified portfolio of the most promising green hydrogen technology businesses and use our deep expertise to commercialise them globally. We'll then look to exit those technology businesses and cycle gains into the ongoing portfolio, or introduce the technologies into projects and look to participate. We're excited to announce that after 15 months of global research by a full-time team into more than 100 technology venture candidates, rigorous due diligence and negotiations, we've successfully executed commercial terms to acquire equity in what we believe are the two most promising, scalable green hydrogen technology ventures in the world. These technologies will allow green hydrogen to be produced for the first time using purely renewable energy at scale. And that will disrupt global energy markets by unlocking the hydrogen value chain. NET is raising $5 million to close out those deals, help commercialise them and prepare for the next round. Authorities agree hydrogen will be central in the new energy landscape, including Bloomberg, BP, the International Energy Agency, Bank of America, Australia's chief scientist, and of course Andrew Forrest.
It's almost too good to be true. You use water, air and renewable power to make a liquid fuel. You can use this fuel, just like oil or diesel, to generate power, fuel vehicles, make heat and store it for later. This solves all the problems of renewable energy: intermittency, availability and transportability. As well as pure hydrogen, there is another green fuel, ammonia. It contains more hydrogen than hydrogen does and can be transported and stored at room temperature or pressure, and already has global infrastructure and regulatory support.
Looking across the hydrogen value chain analysis showed choke points at green fuel production and green fuel to power. Markets are pivoting to green fuel. Japan's largest power generator, JERA, which generates around 5 times Australia's total power load, have announced it's switching its entire coal and gas fleet over to ammonia. The International Maritime Organization has announced ammonia is the way of the future for shipping engines, and MAN engines have their first shipping engine coming out in 2024, they say. Airbus has said that green fuels will be mandatory for zero carbon flight and has designs underway. If we look at the independent forecasts, we see the projections are that the green fuel market within a few decades will be bigger than LNG is today. Australia is a global energy export superpower. It's been fossil fuels, but Australia has world-class wind and solar resources, familiarity with infrastructure and commodities exports, and energy customers that have committed to a zero carbon future. NET's global presence with team members in Australia, Switzerland, France and Spain, and extensive networks throughout the world allow us to find and bring the most promising technologies from around the world to the biggest green fuel projects right here in Australia.
The world is full of creativity and innovation. Reaching out to those companies worldwide, understanding their technology, business vision, meeting the team and discovering their history is a key process in new energy technology. It enables us to model, compare and evaluate each technology, define their competitive landscape and future step to commercial readiness.
The two technologies we are excited to have signed terms with are both green fuel production technologies to fill that upstream gap in the value chain. We have agreements to acquire about 10% of each, coming in behind large global funds in both cases, and we get board seats. With about 9 million, a decade of science, supercomputers, and a multidisciplinary team of PhDs from Iceland and the US behind the technologies, they run electricity across novel nanocatalysts to convert air and water into green ammonia at near room temperature and pressure. Both technologies are for the production of green fuel. One has been successfully producing 10 kilograms a day of green fuel from a solar farm through last year, and is ready to go to 100 kilograms per day, which will make it the most advanced green fuel production technology in the world that we're aware of. The other one has proved itself on the benchtop and will move to proof of production this year after further stabilising the catalyst. NET's executive team have worked together on many renewable energy technology ventures over nearly 10 years, including solar, batteries, microgrids, and that's across Australia, Europe, Africa, the Pacific and South America. NET team members have founded and developed 23 ventures, mostly in energy and technology, and have a dozen relevant university degrees. Team members have managed billion-dollar infrastructure projects, advised energy giants on investments, divestments, decarbonisation, and led long, complex technology developments, including in hydrogen. I've worked with 70 ventures on commercialisation. Greg founded one of Switzerland's most successful solar companies. Colm was the CTO of one of the world's leading microgrid companies. Andrew was the general manager of Woodside's Browse project. And Glyn helped establish Shell's new energy division. We're raising $5 million. $4 million will go directly to acquire equity in the technology businesses, and the rest on operations, allowing adequate runway to list. Our financial strategy is to create outsized book wealth increases for investors through asset value multiples across the portfolio. And we'll seek to provide liquidity for investors through securities exchange listing later this year. Hydrogen will be central in the new energy landscape. It's too early for infrastructure. The investment opportunity now is in technology. Majors don't give you multiples, and picking winners is risky. NET offers an opportunity to invest in hydrogen, but have experts make the assessments and create value through commercialisation into global markets. We'd like you to join us in accelerating the world towards net zero. Invest in NET and you'll be helping to bring the critical technologies online that will unlock the hydrogen value chain. Join us in participating in what is surely going to be an exciting ride as we place you in the middle of the transition to the new energy landscape.